What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA show. This is the holiday edition, post-Christmas, December 26th of 2025. John Dong is in the mix. John Dong, what's going down? Let's see. He's got a couple comments already right off the jump. I had no idea who Vosgrone was before seeing this, but he looks like an evil version of Patty. I call him a hybrid of Patty the Batty and the Incredible Hulk. That's kind of what he reminds me of. People have been saying that the guy's on steroids. I don't think there's any evidence for that. He just looks that way. But why is everybody jumping to conclusions? People have no idea what they're talking about. Now, he could be. I have no idea, but I don't think it's fair to make that presumption and be err on the side of like, yeah, he definitely is just because of the way he looks. So I guess time will tell. But I assume there's some form of testing in those German promotions. Who would win in a boxing match, boxing only match, Jake Paul or Yoel Romero? I would imagine Jake Paul would win for sure. Jake Paul's been strictly boxing for a long time, but Yoel Romero seems to be a freak of nature. Yeah, apparently he just won some wrestling match against like an Olympic level wrestler or something like that, some pure wrestling guy. Something insane like that. And then I think Yoel Romero is about to do a bare knuckle. Now, you talking bare knuckle? I don't know. Bare knuckle, that would be interesting. I think maybe Yoel Romero would have a shot there, but I think when it comes to straight boxing, technical boxing, yeah, I would have to imagine Jake Paul at this point. And what is it? Yoel Romero used to fight at, what did he fight at? Middleweight, right? Because he fought, yeah. He used to fight at middleweight. I think him and Jake Paul are roughly the same size, so that's what I would say. Okay, we're going to give Justin a couple more minutes here. I think he hopefully will be joining soon, but if not, we will do the show solo today and responding as quickly as I can here to everybody that's got comments or got questions. Oops, what's going on here? Hold on, let me try and I got this window closed. Okay, so hey, there's Justin. I see him in there. All right, we got Justin. Here we go. What's up? What's up? Merry post-Christmas.
Wrestling pressure. I had to step out for the show real quick. Just looking for
Oh yeah, no worries. No worries. So I got something very interesting that I want to show you right off the jump.
Okay.
So our first, actually, wait a minute. Oh, I don't think our topics have been updated. Hold on. Let me fix the topics in the in StreamYard. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna have to do this on the fly, guys. Sorry about this little mistake here. Okay, let me do it right now. We'll say topic number 1. We're talking about Vosgrone. So first of all, Justin, have you heard of a gentleman named Vosgrone?
Can't say I have.
Okay, so I just discovered him earlier this week. This is a German fighter. His nickname, this guy's a madman. His nickname is the Neanderthal. And I made a whole video about him 2 days ago, I think, or yeah, not yesterday, not on Christmas, or the day before. This is a very interesting prospect. You know how I'm fascinated by these up and coming prospects. And a lot of people went off on me in the comments, and they're like, "How are you talking about this guy? He sucks. He's terrible. He's going to get fraud checked when he gets to the UFC, whatever." I then went on MMA Guru's live stream, and I asked him, "What do you think of Vosgrone?" And he's like, "Nah, man, this guy's legit. He's going to be a problem for a lot of people in the light heavyweight division," which is what I felt like as well, just from watching a little bit of footage. Definitely has his shortcomings, but his grappling is on another level. The guy is a IBJJF multiple time. He's gotten medals multiple time. I don't think he's ever won a gold, but he's won bronze. He's won silver medals. He's a jiu-jitsu master. Now, normally you might say like, all right, these pure jiu-jitsu guys, I don't know how they fare in MMA. They may not have takedown abilities. They obviously are going to be lacking in the striking department. But there's something special about this guy, but I wanted to show him to you and get your opinion. Just last thing I'm going to say about him before I show you all the stuff. He's 5-0 right now. He's won 5 professional fights in the last 14 months. And every fight has ended in a submission. Okay, every fight has ended in a submission. 2 of those fights, he got. You're muted right now. You want me to unmute you or no? Okay, 2 of those fights. Oh, you got to unmute yourself.
I got it. Yep, I got it.
2 of those fights have ended in a heel hook, which is very uncommon in mixed martial arts. So that also fascinated me as well. But anyways, let me show you a little bit of footage. This is from the video I made yesterday, and we can get your thoughts here. So this is first things first. This is Vosgrone's ground and pound, Frederic Vosgrone. Check this out, and then I'm gonna show you one other clip, and then I want to get your thoughts.
Finds a home for that right hand early though.
And here he comes. There you go, straight in.
Single leg. straight in.
And the size of the Neanderthal as he grabs hold of this leg. But beautiful get up early here for Morales.
And big shots as well. And again, Neanderthal, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under Carlson Gracie, has won the IBJJF bronze medal and Pereira's Grand Prix. We know what skill set he's got, Luke, and he's already almost got it into his world.
But he needs to get Morales off the fence, because that is not jiu-jitsu, it's cage wrestling. It's a whole different skill set. And the Neanderthals had to learn that in a short amount of time. And right now, maybe giving up the neck as well. So doing a lot of good things here is the Brazilian, but now gets flattened out and separates him, does the Neanderthal. So now jiu-jitsu can get to work as he tries to unbury his head. He's on top in the full guard.
Yeah, he's moved him away from the cage as well, Luke. Now the hammer fist and the Neanderthal caveman-like dropping power shots. He wanted to get it here and again.
All right. So I kind of laugh. Oh, sorry. I kind of laugh when I see this video because I know they're like, hey, he gets him to the ground. Now his jiu-jitsu can get to work. But I'm like, that's not jiu-jitsu, man. That's a crazy ground and pound. It looks like he's got a lot of power and a lot of strength. There's one other clip that I want to show you for Vosgrone, because this is something that I haven't really seen before, except for when it comes to Khamzat Chimaev. And not exactly, okay? It's a different type of takedown. But what I was impressed by is just his grip strength. And you're going to see what I'm talking about right here. All you got to think is just a dog on a bone. Check this out.
But Montagnard doing the right things, right? Circling, staying on that bike. Beautiful movement, left and right, keeping it changing, never trying to get us back flat on the cage. Oh, that left hand is money as well. Oh, wow. Vosgrone staying attached. Let's look at the way he does not want to let that go. Wow. Oh, he looks to lock the leg. He's attacking that right leg now.
He's got his hips back.
Oh, he might attack this, looking for the heel hook finish. That left leg of Vosgrone, it looks like it's already wearing damage, but that's from, he came into the fight with that. Now he's piling the pressure halfway through.
All right. So that's just a little taste of who this guy Vosgrone is. I've heard Vosgrone and Vosgrone. I think it's Vosgrone. I heard the German announcers call him that, so I think that's the right pronunciation. Anyways, I digress. Justin, take it away. What's your first impression of this fighter who's going to be fighting, who fights currently in light heavyweight?
I mean, there's nothing that jumps out at me that I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it. His striking looks very elementary. He looks very stiff. His wrestling looks okay. I mean, there's nothing that jumps off. And the desperation of him attacking that leg here, we talk about there's a time and a place where you need to know when to let go of the leg and just come back to your feet. Like you mentioned, he looks like a dog on a bone. He's so desperate for that takedown. And I think when he fights somebody of world caliber level, like you look at one of the best grapplers to ever go into the UFC, going to the PFL, Vinny Maglia, his personal friend and training partner of mine, one of the best leg lockers ever to be in the game, world champion grappler. But Vinny comes out and he likes to say it, leg locks don't work in MMA, especially against a top level guy. I mean, how often I'm trying to think of the guy that he was in the UFC. He went against Jake Shields. He beat Jake Shields, actually. Brazilian dude, really known for cranking the submissions. I'm trying to think what his name is. If Tehran's on the way, he probably knows what I'm talking about. I'm blanking on his name. But he went to the PFL. He had some weird things in the PFL to where the guys would tap and then he'd continue to crank and continue to try to break. Man, what is his name? But regardless, he reminds me a lot of him. He just looks so desperate to get the fight to the ground. And when he comes across somebody that can stuff his wrestling, that's exactly what I'm thinking of. Yeah, Pereira here's, I'm not pronouncing it right. But John Dong that's exactly right. Like, he just reminds me of a guy like that, to where I don't think that I think he's going to have some mild success, especially if he goes against somebody that, is inexperienced in the UFC, but I can't see this guy being some of the problems. Not to mention, I mean, what happens when this guy transitions into an organization where they have to drug test? Because to me, he doesn't look all natural.
Okay, that's another thing that people have been saying, that they think he's roided out. But like, can you really tell from the look? I mean, you would know better than me. Can you really tell from the look test, or do you think that's a little unfair to say the guy looks like he's on steroids?
I mean, you call a spade a spade. I'm not saying he is on steroids, but you can still, there's guys that are on steroids that don't look like they're on steroids, and there's guys that aren't on steroids that look like they're on steroids. But when the shoe fits, this would be a guy that I definitely test for sure. And I'm just curious how he fares. And what nationality is he?
He's German. He's
okay, so he's not. There's another thing. He's not going to get tested until he's in the U.S. So he can continue to juice up or do whatever he needs to do until he competes in the U.S. And when you have so much hype behind you, and say he does get signed to the UFC, he's probably going to get a full camp to where if he has the right doctors and the right regimen, he can get off the stuff and pass his tests. And that's what a lot of these fighters do that are fighting overseas.
Oh man, you're bursting my bubble here. So a lot of people basically were ripping me to shreds in the comments. I thought you were going to agree with me and say, nah, like this guy's legit. Because let me ask you one other thing too. I'm talking specifically in the light heavyweight division currently right now. I mean, you look at the top, right? We have Alex Pereira, obviously has a deficiency or a potential deficiency, it seems like, in the grappling department. I don't think he's going to stand up to the jiu-jitsu skills of this guy. And then who else do we really have at light heavyweight that is a master on the ground? So that's kind of was my thinking. You have somebody with this high level jiu-jitsu, and on top of it, he seems to have decent takedown abilities. It's not just somebody who's playing in his guard or things like that. Like, he's very aggressive. So with all of that being said, the landscape of the light heavyweights, some of the attributes this guy has, he's still not he's not jumping out to you somebody that will be a problem, because that's what MMA Guru said. He thinks he could be a problem in the light heavyweight division, but you disagree?
I mean, he could be, sure. Anybody could be, stepping in with that much size and that much power. But I mean, his ground and pound doesn't look calculated. It looks like he's just throwing wild shots. I think at the next level, when we talk about levels to fighting, at the next level, you can't be sloppy like that. That's when you get caught in a submission. That's when you get up. And he just looks like, when he's doing ground and pound, yeah, he's throwing a lot of strikes. He's throwing them from different angles. It just looks really sloppy to me. And I think at that high level, you need to be more calculated. You can't just throw random shots. You need to throw specific shots and set up specific shots. When you have someone like him, he's so heavy and he's so strong that he's able to throw those wild hammer fists and those elbows. And he's not really, he's just throwing a whole bunch of shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. You know what I mean? He's not like, oh, I'm going to throw this to set up this, to set up this, to set up this, to set up my leg lock. He's just throwing, and it just doesn't look calculated to me. And I might be wrong. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. Maybe everything he does is calculated until he fights a world caliber grappler or wrestler or MMA fighter, it's hard to tell.
The last thing I'll throw out there is this guy is brand new to MMA. When I said 14 months, 5 fights, prior to that, if you look at his quote unquote like amateur record on Tapology, it's all grappling matches. He's been a pure jiu-jitsu guy for the longest time. He's just very recently transitioning into MMA. So with that being understood, that hey, MMA and striking and all the stuff is relatively new to him. And this is what my coach says all the time, is that striking, it's way easier to get good at striking, get adept at striking than it is at grappling. And that's the tougher side to grow and to become an expert at. So given that, what do you think about it? Is there anything that tells you, hey, if this guy keeps his nose to the grindstone, in 2 or 3 years, his striking could evolve substantially, and then he could be an incredible threat? Anything that tells you that could be on the horizon?
Well, here's the thing. Now you're semi-contradicting yourself, all right? And what I mean by that, it's, you just said, well, if we give him 2 or 3 years, it doesn't sound like he's going to get 2 or 3 years. It sounds like he's about to be signed to the UFC or signed to the PFL or signed to a big organization to where he's going to have to perform right now. So to what you're saying, yes, in 2 or 3 years, yeah, he definitely could develop. I mean, he already has that base. That's like when you have someone like Bo Nickel, who's one of the best wrestlers in the world, that, yeah, you give Bo Nickel 2 or 3 years to transition his striking to fit his wrestling, because remember, his wrestling is his number one aspect. And then you think guys like, oh, well, he's such a good wrestler, we're just going to throw him right there against RDR. You do a similar route to success with this guy, he's going to get fucked up. But yeah, you give him 2 or 3 years, develop his striking to make his grappling better than what it is. Absolutely, he could, but it doesn't sound like he's going to have that kind of time frame. It sounds like he's about to get thrown to the wolves here soon.
I could be wrong. He's got another fight set up, I think, in like January. On top of that, he's 31, if I'm not mistaken, 29 or 31. I think he's 31.
Why are we rushing a good thing? Are we rushing it because he's 31? But again, when you rush a good thing, a lot of times it fizzles out. You look at Bo Nickel, and I go back to Bo Nickel because I think Bo Nickel, people like to criticize him so much. And think about how much criticism this guy's going to get. What happens when he goes in there? And I'm trying to think of, who did Bo Nickel just knock out that grappler?
Well, he lost to RDR. Oh wait, hold on. Let me remember who was
Bo Nickel won by head kick, and I made the breakdown of the video. I'm like, there's no way Bo Nickel's going to beat it.
Oh yeah, it was oh my god, I'm looking it up right now. Give me
That's a guy that you need to match this guy up against, because it's going to be grappler versus grappler, and we're going to see.
Yeah.
This is not a guy you can put up against that has any kind of wrestling defense.
Rodolfo Vieira. You made a breakdown video. Yeah.
Now think about it. You put Rodolfo against this guy. All right, now we have a competitive match. But you put this guy against Bo Nickel. You think this guy's going to take down Bo Nickel? Absolutely not. This is a tailor-made match for Bo Nickel, even at light heavyweight.
That's an interesting idea. The problem is they'd be in different weight classes. But yeah, you're right. And by the way, I think he is 29. I think he's going to be 30 in 2026 now that I remember correctly. So maybe he will have some time. I don't know. You're right. That if he's thrown into the mix right off the bat, it could be a bit of a struggle. But I could see him evolving. Like maybe they give him a really low level, easy, good matchup at the beginning, and then he has time before his next fight or his next several fights to really train and improve the striking. That's me just with rose-colored glasses on, perhaps. Western was asking, where's this guy fought? The UFC has not signed him. He's just been getting a lot of hype. I've been seeing videos about him, and like the nickname and the look of him looking like Paddy the Baddy plus the Incredible Hulk. He just caught my eye, and I was watching some of his fights. I'm like, man, this guy is very exciting. He would be really cool to see in the UFC. But yeah, that's about all it is. He's right now fighting in a German organization, I believe, primarily called Octagon. That's the name of it. And then he's had like other fights elsewhere. But
very tough organization, by the way. Very tough organization.
You know of it? Okay.
Yeah, Octagon. It's like OKTA.
Yes.
Yeah. Very tough organization, a lot of great fighters. The problem is the drug testing. A lot of those Octagon fighters don't make it to the UFC, and I'm not really sure why, because they're so tough and they have so many great fighters. But I really wonder, and this is an honest thought, and I might be wrong. I'm not saying that I'm right, but I'm wondering if the drug testing has anything to do with it, because when you watch Octagon fighting, like, these guys are good, man. They're really good, and you look at a lot of their skill set, and you're like, wow, these guys could compete. But why aren't they competing? Why aren't they transitioning to the US? Why aren't they transitioning to the UFC? And I always wonder if it's because of the drug testing. Again, I'm not saying that's why, but I always wonder that why.
Oh, well, I hope that's not it. I hope and Western says he'll have to look into him. I hope he does eventually make it over. I'm just really curious about him. And I think it's, when have we last had, do you remember the last time, Justin, if ever, we've had a huge German superstar in the UFC?
I can't think of any.
And the nickname, the Neanderthal. Anyways, so that's why I got excited about this fighter. I guess we shall see, but that's why I want to show you.
It's when you have a guy, just my last touch on him, when you have a guy that's so great at grappling, you know what I mean? Like when I commentate for like Tough Enough and stuff, I can't remember his name, but he's a world-class grappler. You fought, I don't know if you saw my last fight or if you're at the last card, but he fought on the last card. He's a world champion grappler. And then he goes in there, and I've commentated 2 of his fights, and he goes and he knocks the guy out viciously. And man, I wish I could think of his name right now, because he's so awesome. When I see his name, he's a Brazilian cat. He's undefeated in MMA. But what's impressive about him is he's a world-class grappler, but he's coming in and knocking guys out. You have a guy like this who's a world-class grappler, and he's just submitting guys. That's not impressive to me.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe his next fight, maybe he's going to get that KO finally. We shall see. And if he does, we'll have to chat about him again.
Let's go.
I really hope it's not a steroid situation like you're saying, but we shall see. Solution to grappling, Western says, is eye pokes. Yeah, that very well could be. Speaking of which, we're going to have Salsa Boy competing on the January 24th UFC 324 card. But anyways, okay, now we have a feel-good story I wanted to talk to you about today. This is about Ben Askren. I made a video about this yesterday. I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but Ben Askren, dude, is just looking amazing. Let me pull up the most recent video of him. So if we look at the slideshow here, check this out. You can see from the beginning when Ben Askren, right after he had his initial lung transplant, man, this is what he looked like. I mean, do you remember how emaciated he was? Actually, let's go back to the first slide. You remember how emaciated he was? He could barely talk. He was coughing constantly. He said he died 4 times while he was in the coma. All this crazy stuff, right? And then if we fast forward to a video that dropped, I think it was 3 days ago. Okay, look at Ben Askren now. This is amazing. Check this out. This is still, he was doing better. Now look at him.
28th. Funky, you are looking great. You are sounding great. How you doing though, for real?
I'm doing well. You know, the how you doing question is always funny, because it's like I'm doing great compared to what I was doing a month ago, and great compared to a month before that. But I still got a long ways to go to like feel what would be called normal compared to prior to being sick.
You coaching, you doing rigorous activities around the house. We know nothing can stop you. Still writing a book?
I wish I could do rigorous activities. You know, the one that's my strength is starting to come back. You know, I got grip coming back and whatnot. My cardio though, bro, I get so tired so fast. I run up a flight of stairs. I'm like, it's no good. So I got the cardio. I don't know. I mean, I almost died, so I suppose I got an excuse, but I got to get the cardio back.
But you're a living inspiration. You're getting guys like Jorge Masvidal saying you're his inspiration.
Okay, and pause 1 second. I just want to show you what he was like. If you remember this, dude, this is him right after the surgery. Listen to this.
What's up, guys? Have not given you an update in a while. Figured you deserve one. Whenever this is all the way over, I actually just read through my wife's journal because I don't remember anything from May 28th to July 2. No recollection. Zero idea. No idea what happened. We'll kind of go through it all, and I just read through my wife's journal. It's like a movie. It's ridiculous. So I only died 4 times, right? Or the ticker stopped for about.
Dude. Okay, you get the idea. It's heartbreaking to watch that first clip, but then it's also heartwarming to think about that first clip and where he's at now. As a fellow fighter, dude, you've had injuries, you've had surgeries, you've been through all this, but I don't know if you know many people that have had, I don't know many people that have had a double lung transplant, complete lung transplant, and has made this type of recovery. But let me just turn it over to you. What are your thoughts and what are your emotions when you see that incredible transformation?
You know, Ben Askren is just a staple of the wrestling community. Funky Ben Askren, you know, people can say that he didn't have a successful MMA career, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I'm not saying he had a great career in the UFC, but he had a great, very successful MMA career. He's been a staple to wrestling. He is a class act on and off the mat, whether you like him or hate him. I don't know how you could even hate this guy. He's just a goofy guy, has always a positive personality. I've never heard a bad thing about him in the wrestling community, in the MMA community. You know, I know people always talk shit about him getting knocked out by Jorge Masvidal, but regardless of winning fights or losing fights, or he had a controversial fight with what's his name, Robbie Lawler. Dude, Ben Askren is just a staple of the combat community, and he just goes to show how tough this guy really is. Win or lose, he always answered the bell. Work time, go! He always answered the bell. He always brought a fight, and he always worked his ass off. And one thing that I really admire is his work ethic, and that's one thing his coaches always said. Because I've seen so many interviews from his coaches. They're like, he's not the most athletically gifted guy.
Mhm.
Obviously, look at the way he walks, look at the way he talks, look at the way he wrestles. They call him Funky Ben Askren because he can take techniques and find ways to make him work, man. And somebody that doesn't have that much athleticism that can do as many things as he did is nothing short of an inspiration. I'm a huge Ben Askren fan, and I wish him the best in all his future endeavors.
You know what's blown me away about him throughout this entire ordeal is his attitude. It seemed like it never went south. It never went negative. And you know me, I like to pride myself as trying to be a positive person and try to look at the bright side of things. But man, what he does is to another level when he's facing his absolute darkest moments. It's not like he had his moment where he shut himself away from the public for months and then came out and then is telling this amazing, crazy, harrowing story. Along the way, he's like right out of the gate, as he's having this recovery process, he's like, man, I caught myself feeling sad for myself, feeling guilty for myself. I said, no, snap yourself out of it. This is like a couple weeks after the lung transplant where he can't even get up. He doesn't even have the strength to walk yet. And he's still having this super positive persona, just being like, look, I'm where I'm at now. I can't look backwards. I can only look forward, stuff like that. How much do you think that contributes to his recovery and where he's at now? Because I mean, you're an athlete and you've seen yourself and many other fighters have to deal with injuries and recovery. How important is it for that positive mindset to aid in the recovery process?
It's the most important part, and that's the thing. That's the thing with recovering from injury. And I'm speaking from experience. Whether I had nose surgery, I had hand surgery, neck surgery was a very brutal thing to come back from. I mean, if you become negative, like you're just going to get deeper and deeper in that hole, and deeper in expression or in depression. And I'm again speaking from experience. I've been for the last couple of years. I never really thought depression was a real thing. I mean, I've went through hard times, but after neck surgery, after getting cut from the UFC, after losing everything essentially, these last couple of years, even now, even in this holiday season, like yesterday and Christmas, it's like I don't have my family's not here. My son's in Michigan. I'm by myself. I'm waking up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, trying to get the motivation to get out of bed. And I'm not even injured right now. But to imagine the things he's went through, and he still has to get up out of bed each day. Again, my best expression I can say is it's nothing short of a miracle because, I mean, again, he died 4 times. I mean, how do you come back from that? I mean, I had neck surgery and couldn't move, the left side of my body. I didn't almost die to it. So like, it just goes to show how mentally tough this guy is and how much work he's putting in to get over every, I should say, stop sign that he runs into. He finds a way around it.
It's absolutely incredible. It's an inspiring story. I had planned in my mind to make it that video on Christmas Day because I thought it'd be a cool story for Christmas. So that's when I released my whole video, kind of rehashing his journey from the first video to the next video, and you can slowly see his progress. And I think it's so incredible now that he's walking and talking and like able to do things. It sounds like he's on the cusp of training again, which is absolutely insane. And he's talking about how, yeah, I'm not fully back there until I get my cardio back. And it's just so mind-boggling, because I think something that everybody may not realize is when you get these big organ transplants, it's not like you get the transplant and you're done. You're on these drugs for the rest of your life that are suppressing your immune system response, because your immune system is still going to recognize these foreign organs as foreign entities and will want to attack them. So you're on immune suppressant drugs for the rest of your life that I'm sure have take a toll on your body and everything else that's going on. So it's not like to even imagine to come back to be training again, let alone like, he's thinking like, yo, I want to get back to full strength. I think it's just a testament to his mindset of saying like, hey, maybe it's not feasible, maybe it's not possible, but that's where he's going to put his mind and his energy. And I have to believe, I mark my word, he will be back competing in some capacity, whether it's just for like a charity match or for RAF or something like that. That's what I see in Ben Askren's future. At least that's what I see his ambition being. So we shall see, and that's going to be very exciting. By the way, Tehran is back in the mix. You were asking Tehran a question before. I think he hadn't joined yet, but now Tehran's here. Says, "What's up, boys?"
Paul Harris. That's what his name is.
Oh, Will Harris. Who's that?
Paul Harris. That's his last name. He's the guy that got cut from the UFC and cut from the PFL.
Oh yeah. Oh right. Yeah. I think I think John Dong got the reference. Western says, "Tell him, Justin, freaking string beans better work." He says, "If anyone can do it, yeah, it's Ben Askren." Man, Ben Askren, what a legend. Now, speaking of Ben Askren, which he was at RAF right there, which is Real American Freestyle, that awesome wrestling competition where they're having a lot of UFC guys come in and fight, mixed martial arts, come in and wrestle. Did you hear about this? They're going to have a wrestling match between Colby Covington and Luke Rockhold. Now, Luke Rockhold used to fight at middleweight and light heavyweight, and he's taking on Colby Covington, who's been a lifelong welterweight. It appears, though, just on paper, that Colby has better wrestling credentials just because he wrestled in college. It was a big part of his game in mixed martial arts, although Luke Rockhold sounds very confident in a recent interview. With this size discrepancy, I think they're fighting at 195 is my recollection. I think Luke said originally it was going to be 205, and then Colby said, no, we need to fight at 195. With the general frame and weight discrepancy and what you know about the wrestling skills, what do you foresee in this wrestling matchup?
I actually think Colby's going to win. I just think Rockhold's over the hill. I don't think he's training properly. I'm not saying Colby is, but I think he has wrestling and MMA are just totally different. Unfortunately for Luke Rockhold, our former UFC champion, every time he tries to endeavor into something new to keep his name in the positive, he just loses, man. He lost in the UFC a bunch, got brutally knocked out. Mike Perry knocked him out. He went to karate combat. I believe he got knocked out in karate combat. Now he's transitioning over into RAF. And unfortunately for him, I think Colby's really going to take it to him.
Oh, man. Okay, if Colby gets this victory, do you think this is going to have any bearing on – because Colby's up there too, man. I think Colby's like 38 or 39. He's getting up there in age. Do you think this will then be a good thing or a positive thing or have any sort of positive net effect for him getting whatever next UFC matchup he's trying to get, if any? I assume he's still trying to get one more fight.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's wrestling. Wrestling and MMA are apples and tomatoes, man. They're not the same. And Colby, nobody really cares to watch him fight. You think here? I'll ask. How about ask the head coach, Extreme Couture, real quick, Dennis Davis.
Okay.
Colby Covington is going to do a wrestling match against Luke Rockhold. Do you think if he beats Luke Rockhold, that's going to affect anything in the UFC of getting him a new matchup?
No, probably not.
And do you think Colby's going to beat Luke Rockhold also? What do you think about that?
In a straight wrestling match.
In a straight wrestling match? Probably, I would think so. I mean, Luke's a big guy, though. So, I mean, he's got to deal with that size. That's the biggest thing with me. But then again, we're talking about Luke, who actually can grapple. I wouldn't say so much a wrestler in a sense, but he's a big guy. And so that's my biggest thing. But then also, like, what's Luke doing? Right? Is he hanging out and he's just like, well, I'm going to go get paid and do a little wrestling thing and
That's
don't
awesome.
really care? If so, then Colby can get at him because Colby can wrestle for sure. He's an Oregon boy, which is where I'm from. So I know about those guys. He can definitely wrestle. But the biggest thing for me is the size because Luke's been in here before and he's a giant middleweight.
And Dennis, let me ask you this: they're fighting at 195. Does that sway you in any which way?
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, not really because
Last one, guys. Work time. Go.
again, I think Colby, doesn't matter what the weight is, he's going to have to deal with that size, and so Luke will probably be cutting to make that, and
Yeah.
then but yeah. So the biggest thing is just it's going to be the weight and size of Luke, and the wrestling ability of Colby, and I think the wrestling ability will show.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see how that goes down. Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate it. Thanks. That was a nice treat. So we got some insights. It looks like Justin and Dennis both think that Colby Covington is going to come out on top. Both of them, I think, don't think that it's going to do any real net positives for his UFC career, but we'll see. I imagine Colby wants to get one more fun fight in, and it'll be a wrap. Will he make the White House card? That's also up in the air. I know the planning for that will start beginning in February. And we got our last.
I got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay. And then Justin's got to bounce in 2 minutes. Okay. Actually, let's go to this topic next, and I can cover the last one on my own. Jake Paul. Now, this is something that's interesting that's been coming up. Joe Rogan's been talking about this, talking about the severity of the injuries that Jake Paul sustained in that last fight where he took that devastating blow. I mean, he took a lot of devastating blows, but really that last shot, he estimated to being equivalent to taking like 10 straight punches to the face, maybe even more, man. I mean, it was such a vicious shot, the way it ricocheted his head back and forth and breaking his jaw in 2 places. We don't really hear about that level of an injury that often in MMA or in boxing. So it's a pretty severe injury. And this is what I want to ask you, Justin. You know, Jake's had like 12, 13 boxing matches thus far. I mean, he's had
15.
a fair amount
He's
of fights.
13-2. He's 13-2.
Oh, sorry, 15. My bad. He's 13-2, but that one was brutal. And that type of injury, even Eddie Hearn said a lot of fighters never come back from broken jaw. So I want to ask you, based on that, based on his fight history, you know, based on the damage he's taken thus far, do you think it's likely that he will be able to return?
It really just comes up to him. I know he wants to go back down to his normal weight class and, go for a world championship. Personally, I think he will. He's going to have the best medical staff. He's going to have the best recovery staff. He's going to have the best rehabilitation. He's going to have the best drugs. He's going to have the best everything of all worlds to make sure he's recovered. I look back at my doppelganger, Dave Mazzani. He broke his jaw in an MMA fight. He was sealed shut for a long time, as tough as he comes. After he got his jaw, time, guys, jogging. After he got it, we're not done yet. After he got his jaw closed shut, he came back and he fought a couple more times. I mean, it just really goes to the person. I really think Jake still wants to make waves in boxing, so I expect him to come back.
All right. Well, I guess we shall see. That was the question I want to ask you. If you got to bounce, no worries. And I do.
I gotta go finish wrestling practice, guys. I'll talk to you guys. Well, I'm gonna make some videos today. I got some time.
All right. Sweet. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Take it
Christmas,
easy. Peace. Later. Okay. So that's the question I've been wanting to ask Justin as a fellow, as a fighter. It's kind of interesting that we got that question answered. It seems like he went against me in the Vosgrone debate. A lot of people were getting on my back for overhyping Vosgrone. I guess Justin agrees with you. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. I guess we shall see. MMA Guru did seem to agree with me more on the side of thinking that he would be a potential problem, but we shall see. Western says Jake has a chin, man. It just came detached. Yeah. That's for sure. We got somebody new in the mix. Nicholas, he said, hey, what do you think about Georgian fighters? I mean, we got 2 at the top right now. I mean, Merab just fell off a little bit. But between Merab and Ilia Topuria, seems like Georgia has some real good talent. And they've also both talked about the amount of talent in Georgia itself, and that both of them wanted to start gyms there and get more fighters into the UFC from Georgia. So that would be my initial take, that there seems to be a lot of talent there, but I don't know specifically anything beyond what I've heard just roughly from Merab and Ilia Topuria. But why do you ask? Are you from Georgia? Let us know. And thank you for joining the show. Welcome, welcome. All right, we're going to move on to the last topic. This is something that was interesting that apparently, again, this is from Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan was talking about Alex Pereira and a lot of rumors saying that he might very well be moving up to heavyweight. Now, there was just some footage of him sparring with his son. And there was also, I think, some news saying that right now he's weighing in the 240-pound range. He's still recovering, from his foot injury. I believe he had a broken foot or a dislocated foot in some capacity during his last fight when he beat Magomed Ankalaev, which still might be one of the best fights, if not the best fight of the entire year. That fight was so amazing, and it caught a lot of people off guard because Ankalaev was the favorite. But anyways, it seems like Pereira might be potentially, I think I misspelled his name. I apologize. Pereira might be potentially making a move up to heavyweight. Now, I haven't heard anything in particular, but if he is making the move up to heavyweight, And now he's not on the White House card. I wonder what that means. I wonder if the UFC is prepping some sort of fight. This is something else that I read randomly. Again, this is not, I think I saw it in a video or read, so this is not anything that's verified whatsoever, but some people are saying that there's some possibility that they're thinking of an Alex Pereira versus Cyril Gane matchup at some point in the near future. Maybe for if they force Tom Aspinall to vacate or some sort of interim belt title. I don't know what's going to happen, but that would be very interesting. Nicholas, we got some more comments here. He says, yes, I'm from Georgia. Now I'm new here. What's up? What's up? Welcome, Nicholas. And Western WMC, he is the mod here, so he's welcoming you as well. Hope you're enjoying the show. So sorry that Justin had to run. Just to give you a little heads up in the show, Justin, he actually is a former UFC fighter. He trains out of Extreme Couture. Normally we're doing the show together, but right now he's got to coach some wrestling practice, so he won't be able to join for the rest of the show. But you can catch us every Monday and Friday at 1:30 p.m. PST, and then we have content coming out on the regular, on the daily, lots of videos on all sorts of MMA related topics. He says, I think Ian Gary will beat Islam this year, but I don't want him to. I want Ilya to beat him. Okay, let's talk about this. I'm going to disagree with you. I think it's an interesting fight, though. Don't get me wrong. And I think Ian Gary is probably the most deserving and would be the most interesting matchup with his height, with his striking, with his great cerebral game planning. But I still think, dude, Islam, I just don't think Ian Gary, like, the problem is if Islam does get a hold of Ian Gary, I just don't think he's going to have an answer. As much as he's been working on his grappling and his jiu-jitsu at Shoot the Box in Brazil, dude, I just don't see it. I think Islam is on such a different level. I mean, look at what JDM did to Bilal, and Bilal is known to have pretty good grappling and pretty good wrestling. JDM can completely neutralize it. And then we had JDM versus Islam. It was like JDM had never trained wrestling or takedown defense in his life. He was clueless. So I think it's again going to be like a Hamzat DDP situation, Islam JDM situation, Islam against Gary. I think if it gets to that point, I don't think he's going to have a real chance, but that's what I think. Now, you're talking about Ilya, okay? All right, thank you. Western, I agree with you. I don't mean to berate this idea of Ilya going up to 170, but I agree with Western. If he goes to 170, I mean, and I think Western, you're saying it because you want him to do more work at 155, but like, I agree with that, sure. But dude, Ilya's like 5'5". He's so short. Even Sean Brady, who's at 5'8", maybe realistically 5'7". That's what he's listed at 5'8". But even he looked tiny against Michael Morales, right? You guys remember that fight, and it was just such a size difference. I mean, imagine Ilya Topuria going up and fighting against somebody like Ian Gary. The size difference would be ridiculous. Ian Gary would just stand in the distance and teep the crap out of him. He'd never be able to get inside. It'd be a joke. Now, yeah, it's the only reason why people are thinking of it as a viable option is because he was going to fight Islam. Islam moved up. But I think the thing is, if Ilya moves up, there's no way he's going to be able to get anywhere close in terms of muscle mass and size. So I think Islam will annihilate him. I think it will be pure destruction. I think, and I'm not the only one that said this. Other people have said this as well. Other MMA commentators and analysts that are in the know, they think it's a one shot, like one and done. Islam will dominate him so badly, Ilya will have to move back down to lightweight. So I hate to say it, but I'm just not interested in Ilya moving up to 170 whatsoever. You guys can chime in as well. Yeah, I mean, Tehran agrees. Ilya's he's way too small for welterweight. It's a joke. It's a joke. He shouldn't even be talking about it. And it's silly. It's silliness. I really don't think Ilya can beat most of the. Yeah, that's exactly. We're 100%. I'm in agreement with all of you guys. Totally. Okay, wait. Let's see. Whoa, I didn't know that. Matsur was 5'6". Okay, that's kind of interesting. That was also a different era, but that is interesting. But Ilya, it's like Matt Serra had a different fighting style. I just don't. I don't know. You know, I could see, like, look at Daniel Cormier too. So short for the heavyweight division, but he was able to impose his will with a super high level grappling. But if you're trying to KO people, I just don't see it with boxing in particular, dude. I don't know. I just don't see it. Nicholas says, yes, I agree with you. There will definitely be a big difference in dimensions at 170, but I don't know how much Islam. Yeah, Islam's not coming down. He's not coming down to 155. He's basically essentially said that he's staying at 170 for the duration. I think that fight's never going to happen, and I'm totally fine with that. To me, that wasn't a fight that I was dying to see. Would have watched it, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't dying to see that matchup because I felt even at 155, Islam was going to be the victor there. Islam beats Topuria at both weight classes. Yeah, I'm 100% with you, Teron. Yeah, and Western I think agrees. DC is like, is he really 5'11" though, or is he 5'10"? I don't know. Maybe he's 5'11". Maybe he's 5'11", but that's still pretty short for heavyweight. That's still really short for heavyweight. But yeah, I always assume that the heights listed are a little bit of an exaggeration. I could be wrong on that front, but yeah, but DC is a freak, dude. DC was a freak. I don't think we're gonna have any other heavyweights that height come in and do what DC did. I think those days are in the past, but I guess we shall see. Ugh. Sorry, guys. Okay. Well, anyways, that's what we got for you guys today. That's the show. Thank you guys so much for joining. Nicholas, thank you so much for joining. Welcome to 10-7. I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you all guys Monday at 1:30 p.m. PST. Like I said, belated this time, but Merry Christmas, everybody. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you. And we're going to do our awards show. It's going to be fun. We're going to be taking a look back at 2025 right before we hit the new year. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.